When men are dishonest, it tends to be very basic and simple. And when women are dishonest, it can be very intricate and complicated.
So the first question I have for all of you is, how many difficult women here tonight? Wait, let me ask that again. I see some hands that are going like this. So how many difficult women here tonight? All right. One more time. How many difficult women here tonight? Yes. Well, now, if you're going to raise your hand, because if you go like this, I can't tell if you're difficult or not. Yeah, I mean, is it up there? Are you a difficult woman? Okay, let's go the other way around. How many easy women here tonight?
And I'm cheap too, so I mean that's a double whammy.
The question has always come back to me. What do you mean by difficult woman? And I took the word out of the sentence, how to seduce women, and it doesn't mean anything. But how to seduce difficult women means something. And for me, difficult woman means that it's difficult to be a woman. I am not one, but it is difficult to be a woman. I look at women, at people who are having periods, people who are carrying children, people who need a gynecologist, people who have moods that are affected constantly. It must be so difficult to be a woman. God, I am so happy that I'm a man. I really am. I don't know how you do it.
Are you currently in a relationship right now?
I'm in a very
Sticky.
I'm in a situation.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Well, I have this affinity for dating straight women.
When I talk about seduction, everybody thinks I'm talking about going to bed, which from a French perspective has a lot more to do with being romantic, which I think that a lot of American women are complaining from what the research that I've done, that American men seem to be lacking a little bit of romanticism. Why do American men seem to fear women in general? And they all pretty much agree that that's true. Am I dreaming it?
That's got to be a really long walk for a man across a bar. And all the thoughts in his head as he's looking at a woman that he's attracted to. And, you know, it's like we all have those thoughts and insecurities, and it's got to be hard for men to constantly be on the hunt and approach.
What is wrong with women approaching men? I have a lot of friends that don't do that. They're afraid to. And then the whole thing is, I want the man to approach me because that's the way it should be. Is it?
One of the problems with approaching women is there's two bad things that can happen. One, they'll reject you, and two, they won't. Because very often you'll meet them and you'll look at them and you'll say, well, the only way I can find out anything is to go over to them. It always seemed to me it would be a lot easier if the woman would come over to me, and then I know I'd be very gracious. I'd be happy to speak with them. Very often, I would enjoy myself even if there was no chemistry.
Which brings us to a point that you just made, which is insecurity. I've thought of insecurity and I've asked myself, where does it come from?
You're insecure when you're goal-oriented. See, living your life from joy, you're living your life. Whatever happens, okay? What this lady's saying, just being present, and what you're saying about the way Richard is. I mean, okay, all the women here, didn't Richard pick you up? Isn't that why you're here to begin with? I mean, he picked me up. Now, you know, you can have that little thing in the back of your mind, but everything we do, if we need an end result, and worse yet, if we love because we got to have you love us back, we are always going to lose.
You're saying not being desperate about it?
Just live your life. You all know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, I think some women are so desperate to meet someone that it shows all over. So when you walk out, you're like this. You're sipping a drink and you're looking at, what's going to come your way. No one's going to approach you.
I walk the streets and I smile a lot. I smile to men, I smile to women, I smile to children, sometimes to dogs because they're really cute. and I would say that 50% of the time I get smiles back.
Some women are just too stuck up to smile back. And honestly, they think if you're smiling, I mean, I remember weird men smiling at me and I'd be like, what a freaking weirdo. And what does he want? It's kind of scary when someone strange just kind of, it's weird.
Well, I don't smile like this.
You do,
don't
you
do
do.
that. No, no, no,
You
no.
have the squinty thing
No,
with
I
your
don't.
eyes.
No,
Yes,
no.
you
I
do.
smile in French. I smile in French.
Alan, doesn't he have this?
I smile in French. It's you know. I'm sorry.
What's the smile that you use?
Well, I'm going to smile, and then I'm going to ask all of you to smile, and I'm going to see the difference between smile.
See, there's that psycho look.
You have a wonderful smile, Alan. Now let me see everybody smile. Let me see. Oh yeah, everybody is smiling. That's a wonderful thing. It changes the atmosphere when you're all listening very, very uptight like this, and suddenly everybody is smiling. Let's smile again. Let's see. That's so fake. Let me see a real smile. A real smile. Okay, so tool number one, smiling. And then when you smile, the whole world.
No, they don't. Sometimes they give you the finger, Richard. No, they do. There's people who are not comfortable with a stranger smiling. I mean, I've encountered it, and I'm a really nice person. And sometimes, you know, I got nice boobs. I'd be like, how you doing? And they'd be like, yeah. So people sometimes will give you negative reaction to a smile. You'll be turned down by smiles, but don't be discouraged. Just keep smiling, you know?
I went to a thing called Hurry Date, just to see what that was like. 30 men and 30 women. And they have 3 minutes to talk to each other, to find out who is who very quickly. And there was one girl who had a cleavage that was very, very revealing. So obviously she wanted people to know that she has beautiful breasts. I was there observing. I was allowed to observe this because to me that was really amazing. So there was one guy it was his turn to go to talk to the girl who had the breast. And he had a glass in his hand. I was standing next to him and he was going like this. He was like this. So I went up to him and I said, "You're next." And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "What are you going to talk to her about?" And he said, "I have no idea." I said, "Tell her she has beautiful breasts." I would never do that. I said, "Why not? She has beautiful breasts. Tell her. She's going to be really happy. It's a compliment." "Oh, I can't do that." "Do it." So the guy goes, sits with the woman. I don't know what's going on between them. 3 minutes, he moves. So then I go sit next to the girl and I said, "So how was it?" He said, "It was fine." "What did he talk about?" "He talked about the nets." I said, "Oh, okay." So I think that in the How to Seduce Difficult Women, the 10 Commandments, commandment number 2 is be confident. And for those people who are saying, you know, where does that come from or what is it? I mean, for me, being confident is being honest. I mean, as long as you're honest, you're completely confident because nobody can fault you for being dishonest. So if you have a smile and if you're confident and if you're not afraid of making a fool of yourself, you stand a chance.
So how would you seduce me?
Well, in the old days, I would have grabbed your ass, but with women, you can't really do that. They don't like it.
You think groping is seduction?
Every single minute that you live in this country, you're being seduced by something or someone. Buy this, do this, go here, do that, everywhere. Seduction is marketing. So how you market yourself? How do you market yourself? I mean, you know, you have to know what you have to market.
Well, this one, she's got great breasts. And I can tell by the shirt, so maybe her shirt is selling her, no? Isn't that a sales tool?
Ah, you got it. Yeah. Any comment at this time?
I need to take her home.
Please do.
You talked about my breasts.
Okay, let's talk about the breast again.
It's funny that you should mention them because the irony is that when I was younger, I spent my life hiding them because that's really all that men would look at because they were huge, by the way. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel so bad for you. We're all buying those right now. Cost a fortune.
And these are natural, thank goodness. But anyway, and it's funny because now that I'm older, I feel that my personality and who I am shines so much brighter than my breasts that I could give a shit about whether my breasts are showing or not. You know, it's more probably a fashion thing for me than a breast thing.
But you obviously wore that blouse a little low, and you know people are going to look at your breasts, so you're obviously proud of them, right? I mean.
Well, really, it's because they didn't have a petite and I'm short.
So what do you do to seduce women?
I'm a lazy French boy. I don't do anything to seduce women. I'm
Oh, they
a
just-
French woman.
They just flock to you?
Yeah.
Having a dinner with an American is like having a checklist next to you saying, okay, is she worthy enough? I would say I prefer to eat by myself with a good book. because then at least you're going to have an intimate moment, and
With your vibrator.
Oh, we should applaud that. An intimate moment. That's good. That's good.
Well, no, because above sexual energy is another energy, which is creative energy, and I prefer not to have sex and channel my energy into writing books, creating TV series.
Oh, we're so different.
What is different? I get long-term joy and not just an orgasm that lasts a couple of minutes, for example. So that's
Couple of minutes?
That's a bad guy. That's bad.
We'll have to give you some workshops.
I think there needs to be more casual sex. No, really, I think, the French are not uptight about that. If you meet a guy, right, you can take him home that night and it's okay. If I met a guy and I took him home that night, everybody would say that whore. Of course, I don't care if I'm a whore. I would take him home. But everybody else around me would be like, oh, she's a whore because she takes guys home. But I think we're all so hung up on what people are going to say about us that we fail to enjoy those things, that we should be enjoying more,
Yeah, sign up.
Okay.
I'm always surprised when I'm meeting someone for the first time who said, "What do you do?" And I go, because culturally it's a shock to me, because that's the last question you would ask in the French culture. Because this is not about the discovery of what you're doing. What difference does it make what you do? It's about the discovery of who you are. So I think that question is always kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. So usually the answer is I'm a plumber. and women look at me like, and they have this prejudging notion of what a plumber should look like, because obviously they go, well, you don't look like a plumber. And I go, well, I'm a French plumber.
For me, let's say my work is a big part of my life, and it's
What do you
something
do?
I love.
That was a joke.
Okay. I'm a plumber.
You're a plumber.
But it's sort of, it's not a checklist, and I don't know how you get to know someone when you meet someone. Like, what question do you ask when you meet someone for the first time? I ask someone what they do because I assume someone who's an adult has a job, and it's a way to start a conversation. Someone asks me what I do.
Why would you necessarily want to question somebody that you don't know?
It's
I
part
mean,
of their lives.
It feels more
meeting
polite than just starting to talk at them.
I'm sorry?
If I just start talking at you, that's not really getting to know you. That's having you get to know me.
Well,
I'm asking you a question. I've approached you, and I'm asking because I'm interested in you, so I ask a question.
Okay.
So what would the Europeans ask? How would you then begin? And I will say that when I see people on the street, I smile and I say hello to the people who say hello to me, and I talk to strangers all the time, and they talk to me. So I feel sometimes like I live in a different city from some people here.
The first question people ask you is, what do you do? The second one is, where do you live? So I work in finance. I live on the Upper East Side. I'm a prick. Can
I take you home?
So it's an image thing. So you got to go out there, and it kind of is like in sports, there's a zone. And to be successful, I think, in seduction, you kind of have to be in that zone where you're confident with yourself, you know what you want, and you can project that outwardly. And I think that's how you can succeed.
Again, it goes back to confidence. If you're a confident person, I think, me speaking for myself, I love confident men. Guys that are standing in a corner hiding, I just want to smack them. But I mean, if I'm going to be attracted to a man, it's a confident man with a big penis. But you don't normally know until you're in bed with them, of course.
When the sexes meet, you shouldn't tell each other what you do. I think it creates, like you said before about image. It's all about image. If I tell someone what I do, it's going to change the way they look at me immediately.
Sometimes when people ask me, what do you do? I feel that somebody is trying to label me, to get an idea of where to put me in the pecking order. A week before, she had told her husband that she's going to start dating again. So I was the first project. And it was just kind of cool because she hadn't been with another guy in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of pressure, though.
For me.
Don't you think? No?
No, 10 years, the same dude. Everything is
Everything's good.
Is a surprise.
What is the most seductive quality that you're looking for in a man?
Is self-confidence.
Self-confidence.
Yeah.
What is the one quality, your favorite quality in a man? Confidence.
I'm funny.
Sense of humor.
Honesty.
I would say that her heart is just open to the world.
Spontaneity.
Sense of humor and kindness. I want somebody who completely knows who they are and isn't constantly questioning who they are. That's the sexiest thing to me.
Someone with a nice ass who can have sex with me for 2 hours and then doesn't want to cuddle. Thank you. So then I'll just take this home. No, the same thing. Honesty. The same thing. Honesty, integrity. Somebody who's open.
Most women are looking for men they can communicate with. And men are not the greatest communicators because most of them have had a mother.
I think that a big secret is to not listen to what a man says, listen to what he does. And that's very clear usually.
Action speaks louder than words. My experience has been not necessarily in that order, honesty or confidence or whatever, but it's always been a sense of humor. I think if you can make a woman laugh right off the bat, which is how I got this woman to come here tonight, because she laughed in a split second. If you can make a woman laugh, I think you've got her. The door is open. What happens next is up to you, up to her, but you have to open that door. And the key is a sense of humor. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that in the short term, but in the long term, a funny guy can be an asshole.
Well said, well said. Well, I want to thank all of you very much. Thank you.